that's the reason why we need to have that body of work, the wider regional work. Yeah. Okay, councillors, so we're talking years 2 and 3 here really, and I do want us to amend this to make sure we get much better optics over year 6, so I think that's probably too far out in comparison to what we're doing. And after years 2 and 3, on the basis that we get on with this work, it would be making an analysis as to how effective that work is going. So it seems to me like the councillors and the local board chair and board are asking for an appropriate start, and that they need a little bit more time to get that up and going though. Councillor, Wayne, and then Councillor Penny, and then I really want to put this to the vote.
Yeah, sure.
Councillor Calto.
I would commend this strongly. I regard this project as somewhat of a beachhead for the region because we simply have to start.
No puns, all right?
No pun intended. There are a variety of issues. The existing rocks on the beach are a hazard. If we put this off any further, frankly, the costs are going to escalate and escalate significantly. So we simply cannot put this off. I would suggest that the design work goes not just to a solution for Orewa, but also solutions elsewhere, because there aren't huge differences down the east coast, and I would suggest this is one of the most extreme and highest priorities. As John has mentioned, it's enjoyed by a lot of people. It's also going to protect a variety of assets, public assets and also private assets, and we simply have to get on with it. So I would commend you to allocate this money.
Yeah. Okay. Councillor Penn-W.
Well, yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. I mean, this is, as Councillor Watson said earlier in an earlier debate, I mean, this is an area where people come from all over the place. The playground there is full at the weekends. I know for myself that we often go down and meet our grandchildren who come up from Auckland because it's sort of a nice halfway house. My concern is by year 6, if things go on the way they are, there won't be a beach there that people can play on because it's eroding so rapidly. You asked why this beach and not some of the others, and I know that we've had erosion issues in my area, but this beach has been hit several times by high tides and easterly wind storms, and there's nothing to protect it. Some of the other beaches, I mean, even our local beaches, at least there's Kawau Island and Tawharanui, this beach is fairly exposed, so it actually hits things a lot, and I was horrified when I went down there recently to see what it looked like. I think the other thing, unfortunately, in a previous life, there was a group of people who were raising money to try and put a reef in there, and that I don't know where that project is anymore. I think they
fallen over.
I think they gave up because it was too difficult.
Doesn't work.
But Councillor Walker, you were very much against it, but they've actually done that further down the coast at Tauranga and Mount Maunganui, and it has worked. It has protected the beach. It has actually put more sand on the beach. So
correction, it's been removed.
The idea that
hang on, what is this?
Councillor Wayne,
the
Heckler out of the room.
Please.
Security.
Stop. Councillor,
that we should
you really want this to work?
Well, just a point of clarification.
No. I'm not.
Been removed.
That's actually a statement. It's not even a rhetorical question.
I'm trying to say that there's various issues and there's various solutions that we need to look at. I agree with Ian. In some places it's hard areas, in some places it's retreating, but there are lots of different areas. As I've said myself, I know in Noosa where they actually have a permanent sort of pipe along the beach that takes the sand from down in the estuary and pipes it back up. We used to use, I suppose you still use trucks to do that, we used to do that too, but you know, it is an issue. My concern would be if we spent a lot of money on design and consultants, I'd rather actually spend money on getting things done. So, and hopefully there are similar beaches around the area that whatever we do at Orewa can be extrapolated out to other beaches, but I'm very supportive of this and I urge councillors to support it, because if you go up there and have a look, and as Councillor Watson said, the whole of Orewa depends on this beach, And if you went up and had a look, I think most of you would be extremely shocked. We saw the photos that the local board brought in. The whole area of that beach near the playground is actually got netting so that people can't get on the beach. So please, 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 let this go ahead.
Councillor Cal.
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. I'm pleased you brought up this regional, because it is regional, because I can tell you a number of boards across the region have all got these same sort of things happening. And I can tell you out south, as you well know, we have these matters arising as well, and I can go as far as saying that thank goodness we've got a way forward. Mr. Fixit, Mr. Kimpton, has got a way forward, but you know, we've even had key developers that have jumped on board and said, hey, listen, we'll pay for the seawall to be done.
Yes.
But unfortunately, it's been taking a long time coming. But you know, Ori was not alone. I mean, to say this is right across our region. Right across our region.
Yeah, here we are.
Thank you, Councillor Cal.
Tamaki.
Councillor Bill.
Yes, so just to reiterate actually what Councillor Penrose has just said is, you know, Maraetai, the road's about to go, and I think we maybe have to shift the road back around by houses and decommission some houses, $30–40 million worth. There's beaches everywhere being destroyed, and as Wayne Walker has said, maybe it is global warming and inundation and all those other big words he uses. You know, to pick one out is we need to do a regional project list and to have some work going through it. It needs to be comprehensive. I will agree on what Councillor Webster said about it's actually got to be about delivery and not endless plans. We put 13,000 beach protecting plants in at Kawakawa Bay. It took us 3 years to get the council staff to come on board to make it happen, whereas we were sitting there with our spades for all that time. So that's the delivery section we need to get right. And we can, the communities will really step up to do this work, you know. So 13,000 plants were stuck in on a Sunday morning. So that's what the focus needs to be, a regional-wide project, and priorities set, budget allocated, and then use the communities to help deliver it.
I don't really want a long debate on this one. Really. Councillor Christie?
I think was it yesterday or the day before, I think maybe it was at our budget workshop, I pointed out that one of the deficiencies in this big budget for the next 10 years is any understanding about what's coming at us in terms of sea level rise and climate change response. And this is just one small part of it. It is a massive issue, and here we are reacting to an important part. But we need to be making these decisions in the context of the big study, because it is enormous. It is not just coastal erosion. 2050, on that beach and every other bit of 3,000 kilometres of Auckland coastline, the sea level is going to be 40 centimetres higher. 2050, fact. 2110, it's going to be 1 metre higher. The problem goes on. Big issue, no budget in our 10-year budget for it, really. We have to have that study. We should have been up to pace a long time ago, folks. I want to see that study. I want to see it tomorrow, having not seen it yesterday, before we go and look at our response to this massive challenge.
Okay. I'm going to sum it up this way and suggest a way forward. And we could just put it to the vote. It might get through, it might not. I don't think that's particularly useful. Right. This is a request for funding in years 2 and 3. Now, to the 2 local councillors and to Julia is here. Good to see you, Julia. So if it was, look, it's quite frankly urgent, but the response is clearly going to need to be sustainable. So we want to make sure we get it right. And secondly, I don't want a big punch up around the region because one councillor thinks theirs is more urgent than the other, and Ian says it's top priority, but you know, there could be 4 or 5 other top priorities. I don't know. I haven't been to all the beaches. So this is the way. This is, and so there's also an acknowledgement that, I mean, certainly under the old legacy councils, there were 1 or 2 erosion budgets and policies that were clearly defined and worked out, and there's a body of work to be done here. So if on the basis it's for year 2, as I said, we're 3 months away from me starting into presenting to you the next proposal for the next annual plan. I can't believe it. I can't wait for that. Why don't we do it this way? Why don't we take the opportunity of doing a little bit more study, given the fact that this is coming into the 16-17 year, all right? Do a bit more study, assess better, our regional priorities, I see this as our top priority, all right? So I give you a lead that unless someone says anything to the difference, and I've not heard it anywhere through this discussion or at any other time, and certainly not in my perceptions, then I would see this as number one priority and I would back it in a budget debate. But I actually want us to be able to be confident that that's in fact the case. Secondly, that we've got very best technical practice around the fix, that it's, you know, do it once, do it right. And thirdly, we are deciding about a year 2 and 3 issue here. And so it's not so critical that we can't take an extra couple of 3 months to get it right. And then for me, in the back end of this year, to give the local councillors and the local board a very clear lead. And, you know, as I say, that what I will commit at this point in time is the fact that unless something changes dramatically, I see this as a number one, and I'd back it in a year 2 budget. All right? But I think that some of the comments around the table are fair, and they reflect on the need for us just to have better optics over this. So, you know, just asking for a little bit of patience, and you know, always happy to put this up to the democratic will, but you know, there's a minor chance that it might not work for you. So I really think that if you were prepared to be a bit patient, given the fact you're actually not looking for this in the first year, but you want it in the second, that patience might actually pay off in spades for you. Councillor Johnny?
Yeah, no, that would be good if that patience pays off, because we've been very patient. But I'm just immediate issue of the consenting costs that are required now on the back of all the planning that's been done already. Where does that leave us with
okay,
that?
you better give me a bit of advice on that. Perhaps we can deal with that.
Through you, Your Worship. My understanding is in the next year we have sufficient resources to process the consenting. Okay.
Right.
Well,
so
sorry, I mean, in that case, I mean, we need to send a message, and I think Councillor Watson said earlier today that, you know, people think everything's going into the central city. I want something in here that's sending a message to the people of Orewa and that area that we are actually taking it seriously and we are going to do something about it. So whether if you don't want to put this, that's fine, but I really need something.
Well, I'm very happy to move something along the lines of my wordsmith here. Everyone quickly at your pens. Something that the governing body hereby notes the urgent requirements of remediation work at Orewa, is committed to that, but wants to...
As part of a wider body of work.
That's right, wants to do that as part of a wider erosion study, and will make initial determinations sort of late this year.
Well,
and meanwhile funding exists for consenting.
Yeah, that's right. Yep, that'll do it.
You happy with
Yes.
that, John?
Yep. Look, I think it's a good practical way forward.
Where's my agenda gone?
Julia, happy with that?
Where are we?
Yes, okay, Julie.
I would never ask to do this normally, but can I just say we have a dilemma. We're going out to consultation. There's been 5 options talked about.
Yep.
How can we in good faith go out to the people and ask them what option when we don't know that we have certain funding to be able to do that work? Our board's tried to tailor it in such a way that we do it in 3 stages, north, centre and south. But we really, we've been told by our financial people that we can't go ahead and proceed with something if we don't have the funding to implement it.
Yeah.
So we have a real concern that it sounds good, but there's no real 100% certainty that that funding will be there. And with respect, this work has been waiting over 2 years to be done, and it's looking sad for those of you like Councillor Darby who told me he'd visited the beach. It's just being held up, large parts of it, by roots of trees.
So, yeah, look, I've got that. Thanks very much, Julian, and it is great to see you here. You will be going to your community with a much better steer by September, October, I presume, after the parks, after the appropriate committee's done its work. So, Julia, as I say, it's not a long wait, but it's just about getting it a little bit right, okay? You would do exactly the same in your board, I know. Yeah. There we are, councillors. I've moved that, and seconded by?
John.
John?
Yeah.
Yep, okay, I know, it's not perfect, but we're getting there.
Mr Chairman,
Yep.
can we put sea level rise inundation as well in that? It's not just erosion.
Yep,
Because we've got the same out at Hui, they're going to have to lift the possibility lift the whole road, lift the reserve. There's so much more than just edge erosion. There's actually huge work on roads that will have to be lifted, and it's worse than the leaky home issue.
Stormwater pipes.
Yep. Thank you.
okay. Make that by August. So make that back to council by August this year. Because I want to be able to lead that in the first part of our annual plan discussions.
And Mr Chairman, this should actually be coming to a committee of the whole straight away, a strategy committee or something.
Not to one and then another.
Not to one and
straight
not
to
another, because it's
multi-division.
you know,
Right,
it
well,
is
whatever,
an
that's logistics, so we can make sure that happens.
Logistics cost us money.
Yep, thank you, councillor Linda. Right, let's put that. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Linda, Julia rather, thank you for being here.
And Linda, thank you.
And Linda, for your advice again. For
You're
your
welcome, Your
continuous
Worship.
stream of
You're
excellent
welcome.
advice.
continuous.
Gotta have a nagging woman, you know,
Okay.
it doesn't work otherwise.
All right, this is the 4. We have 4 items of requests for regional support. Regional events, Festival of Photography, Street Gardens, Sustainable Neighbourhoods. Total amount requested in this year for those 4, $483,000.